music sound.
Friday, 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 Friday. Oh, we have made it to a finally Friday, and good morning. It is a fun Friday here on Mornings in Meridian as we're approaching 12 minutes into the 7 o'clock hour as we are kicking off the first hour of the two best hours of local live talk radio here in East Mississippi and West Alabama. On that FM frequency locally at 102.1 FM, and of course, doing that online thing, WALTmeridian.com, the mobile app, Facebook Live, YouTube. We're connected everywhere this morning.
That's
so do be careful as you're headed off to work this morning. Still a few raindrops kind of hanging around the area, so a little slickness on the road. So just take it easy out there, buckle up, and do not text and drive, please, as the buses are also rolling this morning. 601-485-9191 is our number for you to be a part of the show this morning. And on the show is, of course, Rob and Dr. Toby Bates back in this morning.
Good morning, Rob.
Hello, sir.
Left Tupelo around 4 o'clock this morning, rain all the way down. And so I want to take this first opportunity.
Yeah.
All the people I saw on the road, I'm sorry.
Uh-oh.
All right, I had to get here in time.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. And you can't charge me once I say I'm sorry. It's a rule. It's a rule.
It's a rule.
Yeah. Ward Calhoun, please let it be a rule.
Ward Calhoun, please let it be a rule.
Sure.
Please let it be a rule. I love it. A lot to cover this morning here on the program. Boy, confirmation hearings were everywhere yesterday. Boy, pick your hearing. There was 3 of them going on simultaneously yesterday with Kash Patel, which that's the one I got plugged into pretty hard yesterday. It was very impressive. The potential new FBI director, of course, Tulsi Gabbard. And RFK Jr. was in his second hearing yesterday, so we'll go over that. Also, Trump and DEI.
Yes.
Very big comments that came from the president, including a little bit of colorful language.
We did.
Which I caught that live, and I was like, whoa. Rhymes with bull snot.
It does.
But anyway, and a lot of local stories to get into as well, which that's how we're going to kick off our show here in just a few moments. We'll play some audio from the 2 campaign rallies that were held yesterday. Of course, today is the final day, qualifying deadline for the municipal election. So if you are a glutton for punishment, you have until 5 o'clock today.
That's right. That's right. And I just want to remind someone who's on the fence. I know they're listening.
Yeah.
They're on the fence about running. He told me I cannot say his name on the air.
Okay.
So I won't. But, Roger, run. Run.
If only he lived in the city.
That's right. We can edit that out, can't we?
Yeah, we can put that on the cutting room
we'll
floor later.
get that before the air of the show. Yeah.
So, but yeah, today 5 o'clock is the deadline. If folks want to run in any of these council races, or of course the mayor of Meridian. So, of course, we had 2 candidates yesterday, which they had already qualified, but they had like their little rallies yesterday. So we'll play some snippets of that coming up. So a lot to cover this morning on a fun Friday. But let's kick off the show this morning about talking about our good friends north of us, up in Neshoba County, there in Philadelphia at Doc's Toyota. And, of course, what do we always say? There's no deal like a Doc's deal.
That's right. And you'll feel better after you go to the Doc's you're supposed to. Unlike other Doc's, though, you won't really spend a lot of money. We've been hearing for months now before folks make big purchases on homes and vehicles. Well, I just want to see how the election's going to go.
Right.
Because that will tell me how the economy might, progress. And, the same people that were saying that, I happen to know, they're happy with the way the election turned out. And so they're talking about going up to Doc's because now's the time to start looking, right? Now's the time to start looking for that vehicle purchase. And folks, before you go up to Philadelphia, it's it's 15120 Highway, I'll peak 16 West.
That's like you're going to the gambling house.
Right. I just know it's across the street from Bumpers and a liquor store. So,
I love it.
That's right. That's
what a combination.
So I get my, think about it, it's fantastic. You go to Doc's, you get a great deal on the vehicle, you purchase it, you go have a nice meal, and go celebrate at the liquor store. Pick up your purchase and then go home and celebrate.
What a great location.
Yeah. Remember, if I say I'm sorry, you can't charge me, right? But folks, we want to remind you about Doc's website. Doc's Toyota, Philadelphia, Mississippi. Just Google or any search engine will get you there. And they have this great little window that I played on today, which is called Explore Inventory.
Ah.
And so it's like you're walking around the lot. Now, what's a little different about Doc's is, you go to some car dealerships, and the second you step foot on that lot, there's 4 people up against you. They're grabbing you like the IRS and an ex-wife, and you just want to look at your own pace. Doc's lets you do that, but you can also do that on their website to explore inventory. Look at their new vehicles, a lot of new stuff coming through, rotating through, some great pre-owned vehicles as well. Right there in Philadelphia, Mississippi, 15120 Highway 16 West. And as Rob said, there's no deal like a Doc's deal.
That's right. So, well, let's kick off the show this morning. I got some audio, and we'll get to the phone calls here in just a few moments, folks. I know we got folks already calling up this morning, but I wanted to start out the show this morning by playing some audio yesterday. Of course, Cash Matlock was very busy out there yesterday covering 2 different political, I guess, campaign rallies yesterday here in Meridian. I flipped a coin earlier, and one candidate got heads and one got tails, and, well, the coin landed on Rita Jack to go first. So we're going to start with her this morning.
Can I have my quarterback?
It's over in the change bucket.
Oh, okay.
Miss Rita, of course, she's been on the show here before. We've had her on several times when she was with the Meridian Police Department, and I've always had great conversations and encounters with her, from a media aspect. But she had her campaign kickoff yesterday at Dumont Plaza, and I'm going to play some audio from her event here. Let me pull this up here. Gotta love how you have so many windows open here. I'm not going to play the whole thing. It's 22 minutes, so I'd bore y'all to death with that. But here's kind of the way things kicked off yesterday at her campaign rally, courtesy of Queen City News Feed this morning.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am here before you today with a message. I want you to know that your leadership, strong leadership, is what you deserve. You don't just settle for anything. That's not what we're going to do. We're not going to settle. We're going to get someone that is experienced, that is transparent, that's trustworthy, and that is committed to seeking solutions. No one has a guidebook or any type of instructional pamphlet on how to run the city of Meridian. It takes someone that has been in the trenches, have been in the cracks, have been out here in the streets. These are funny streets. They don't take kindly to you at first. But once you spend time with the residents, with the businesses, they open up. They open up to you. And right now, I have that type of relationship, I feel, with the community. A community that knows if they call on me that I will respond.
All right, that was the opening comments from Miss Rita Jack yesterday, of course, talking about leadership and experience as she kicked off her campaign for the office of Mayor of Meridian. Your thoughts on her kickoff there?
I wish she would get over her shyness. She's, as you can tell, a very shy person. No, I love the announcement because it's her. It's genuinely her. And you know what you're going to get with her as far as, like you said, whenever you've reached out to her or we've had reasons to reach out to her.
She's always been very, very.
That's right.
Yeah, very, and we're going to make the effort to get her on the program like
That's
we
right.
all the other candidates. But going over her experience, she talked about there. She's got 25 years experience in law enforcement, of course, including roles in public works, the Meridian Police Department, narcotics, public relations, crime prevention, and district law enforcement liaison. She has a long history within the community. I'm just reading directly here from Queen City News Feed. At the rally, Jack outlined her priorities for the city, which include public safety, economic growth, community engagement, efficient government. Not being disrespectful to any of the candidates, but that's kind of the basic platform for a lot of you out there.
Sure.
It's part of the beast.
Yeah.
Of course, you did hear her say there she believes in strong leadership, smart solutions, and a deep understanding of the issues that matter most to the people of Meridian. If you want to see the entire length of her rally yesterday, it's over at queencitynewsfeed.com. So, but she had filed earlier this week and had her kickoff yesterday down at Dumont. So,
and you made a great point as well in the fact that she's hitting all the right buzzwords: transparency, right, leadership. and she knows, like I think the other candidates know, that these are records we've heard over and over again. So what the people of Meridian are wanting for, hey, that sounds great. How are you going to do that?
That's
What
right.
they're looking for.
Let me go back here. Let me open up my second window here. Mayor Jimmy Smith made his announcement yesterday. Of course, he had filed very early in the process for re-election. Of course, he defeated Percy Bland in a primary this past go-around, and, well, it's going to be a rematch of some sorts in the Democratic primary coming up. But we will have a general election because of the independent candidate, Mr. Copeland, who we highlighted on the program last week. But Jimmy Smith did his re-election rally down at the newly renovated Frank Cochran Center yesterday afternoon. And I'm just going to play I'm going to play two pieces of audio here. The first is going to be kind of the introduction. Rita Jack started with leadership. Well, Jimmy Smith started that way as well. Interesting how all these candidates are talking about leadership, putting it in the forefront. But here's Mayor Smith yesterday at his kickoff rally, courtesy of Queen City Newsfeed.
Thank y'all. Appreciate y'all coming out. You know, one of the things that I'm concerned about is leadership in our city. We got to make sure that we elect people with integrity. You understand what I'm saying? People with integrity. You know, we ought to have people that's in office, in every office, that they have integrity. Because that's what's important. Because then those people are doing the right things. You know, they're not there coding their own get along. You know, they don't have their hand out to say, give me something so I can do something. You know, you got to look at our past. We got to make sure that we're electing the right people. We need to make sure that those people have integrity. You know, it's amazing to me that I have several people that's running for office, and I know their integrity is not as well lit as it should be. But I'm not going to tell you about that.
Whoa.
I think you need to know that. You need to investigate yourself and make that decision upon those.
Oh, Mayor Jimmy Smith, integrity in leadership in these offices. And talking about some other folks, did not mention names.
Right.
But quite interesting the way he kicked off his rally yesterday.
And did I understand the words that he said right? Because this is an honest question. Their integrity is not as lit as it should be? Okay, but that's... Okay, so he means that maybe in a way that we need to look closer at their integrity. I thought maybe it was because they have great integrity, but it's not under the light as not much. We should lift them up even more, but maybe that's not what he meant.
And of course, you know, in fairness here, when it comes to these mayoral candidates, you always have to look at what you have currently in City Hall, the record. And of course, you know, Mr. Bland has a record of being the mayor once upon a time, a couple of terms there. But you have to look at the record, obviously, of your current mayor here. And this is what he laid out yesterday as his key achievements that he just kind of put out there. And he had campaign pamphlets down there yesterday as well. Paving over 50 miles of street, including North Hill Street, 14th Street. The medical district obviously is included in that. 8th Street, 22nd Avenue, and 45th Avenue. Securing a $10 billion investment from a Dallas-based data center developer for a new campus in Meridian. Seems like everybody's taking credit for that. Awarding 27... I'm sorry, I spoke out of turn there.
Well, no, you're pointing out a point.
Yeah, well, everybody's going to take a little slice of
And
that.
it's sharp.
Well, you know, just saying. Awarding $26 million plus in federal funds for infrastructure improvements, reconstructing and reopening 2 heavily traveled bridges, reconstructing and remodeling the Frank Cochran Center, which is where he spoke at yesterday, budgeting $620K plus for removal of condemned structures and cleanup of abandoned city properties, refurbishing all parks and recreation facilities, plus a new roof on the Senior Citizen Center, phase 1 of a real-time crime center at the Meridian Police Department, and completing roof repairs on City Hall, the roof and exterior. Those were some of the key points that were outlined on the Queen City Newsfeed page this morning as it came to his kind of rundown of all the achievements. So can't argue with any of that. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, the roads, fantastic, 50 miles plus, but The only mention, and I know what folks are saying, they're screaming at me right now. The only mention of crime is the real-time crime center, phase 1 of a real-time crime center. And I know a lot of folks, crime is number 1 at the top of the list. This other stuff is fantastic. Don't get me wrong, but the crime obviously is number 1. And Toby, that leads me to my next piece of audio.
Indeed.
Are you ready for this next one?
I am.
I'm not taking any kind of funny move at the mayor or anything like this, but a lot of folks are commenting about this on the old Facebook. And yesterday during his campaign rally, they're at the Frank Cochran Center. They're in Highland Park. And he's got a lot of city workers around him. I know Craig Hitt came up there and shook hands with the mayor. Of course, he's done a great job as community development director. Of course, Ed Skipper was also there behind him. I think the world of Ed. But the timing of this was I don't know if that's the right word, during this campaign rally. But listen closely in the background as he's talking about the gentleman who has kind of spearheaded the renovation of the Frank Cochran Center. Just listen in the background of this.
But the way he worked his magic with this thing is better than that. And I want everybody to go inside when you get through talking here and just...
I don't know if that was a gunshot during the campaign rally. But it sure sounded like one. Let's play it again.
But the way he worked his magic with this thing is better than that. And I want everybody to go inside when you get through talking here.
Like I said, don't know, can't confirm it.
Sure.
Don't know that, but a lot of folks, not me saying this, it's folks on social media. I'm just echoing what I'm seeing in the Facebook sphere out there. Just commenting about that. And like I said, no, not taking any kind of ill will toward the mayor about crime. Just, I know that's a tough situation to be in for anybody. It could have happened to any candidate. And I'm not saying that's what it was.
The last 10 years for sure.
Yeah, I'm not saying that's what it was, but with the track record of what's been going on in the city, it's highly probable. And of course, the location is also highly probable.
And if they run with this, just some friendly advice here to the mayor, if your opponents run with this and say, look, this was a gunshot as he's, talking, and it just shows, well, I think they could turn this around and say the mayor has incredible eyesight. Because you notice he says, right, he's talking about the Cochran Center, of course, he says,
sure,
but I'd love for all of us to go inside. Boom! Then you hear the noise, right?
Yeah.
So he was looking out for the people if it was a gunshot.
Yeah, and like I said, it's speculation.
Sure.
Speculation.
Sure.
We all read the comments. I saw them yesterday. A lot of folks saw them yesterday, and I just figured I'd play the part of that video that several people are talking about.
And it could be that, there's someone who perhaps doesn't like the mayor who put that out there. That's what that sound is. It could be plywood falling.
It could be anything.
That's right.
It could be anything.
That's right.
But in just fairness, a lot of folks are talking about it, so I figured I'd play it this morning.
That's right.
So, but anyway, wish everybody the best in their campaigns. It's today's the deadline, and we'll see if anybody else kind of throws their name into the ring for this position or these city council positions. But I'll try to get the final list from Cash Matlock at some point this morning if he has an updated list, because to my knowledge, I don't think anyone else has qualified to my knowledge. We'll try to get that information for you in a few. But thought it would be good for you folks to hear how things went at some of these campaign events yesterday as another election season is here.
And like we were saying off the air, who would want to go through this?
I know, right?
So God bless you for even running or rerunning. Oh, my goodness.
I'm glad I'm on this side of things.
Yes.
So we'll take a break and take your phone calls and reactions next at 485-9191. I'm pretty sure those are going to be fun.
Indeed.
Next. Good morning, folks. Welcome back in. Hope you're enjoying your finally Friday. Hey, last day of the month as well. Can you believe it? January has already went on by. 601-485-9191. We'll get back to the phones here in just a moment. No particular reason for Pat Benatar. You can read between the lines on that one. But looking at the birthday list this morning, it's kind of a decent list. Actress Minnie Driver is 55 today. Remember Kelly Lynch from Roadhouse?
I do, yeah. Oliver. I mean, yes, I do.
Whoa!
I'm sorry.
66 today.
She's 66.
She's 66.
Okay. All right.
Kerry Washington from the show Scandal. Of course, she was in the movie Ray, which was fantastic. Jamie Foxx playing Ray Charles. She is 48 today. And looking on down the list here, Nolan Ryan. Oh, man, what a pitcher. 78 today. He set a league record by striking out 5,714 folks.
Threw an 86-mile-per-hour fastball just a couple of years ago to see if he could still do it.
Unbelievable.
And his last year in the league, he beat the crap out of that young player that made the mistake of charging. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Put him in a headlock,
That's
too.
right.
Another good one from the baseball world, the late Hall of Famer Ernie Banks. He would have been 94 today. Of course, we lost him in 2015. Mr. Cub.
That's right. Didn't get a lot of the attention he should have got early on, but certainly remembered now. And I'd just like to throw out there that tomorrow would have been the 57th birthday of Lisa Marie Presley.
Wow.
Actually passed away early like her dad did. So.
Also, Justin Timberlake from the music world. Keep the alcohol away from him. He's 44 today. So there you go. Before we get to our phone call, let's talk about our good friends, the Carr family down at Truckers Supply.
1969 was a great year, right? It was really about the last year of the hippie run, So those people had to take a bath and start the 70s a little different. And it was, we landed on the moon. Pretty cool.
There you go.
Right? Nixon took office. Pretty good.
Yeah.
I was born. Right. I celebrate my first breath of oxygen from that year. But also, as you said, Trucker Supply, the DW Carr company, when I say company, it's family, but I mean, how many branches they own of this Trucker Supply? And wherever you go, it's like that 1969 customer service.
Absolutely.
They say good morning to you, folks, and they mean it. They say, "Can I help you?" and they mean it. And I just jotted down on the way down this morning as I was driving in the rain. It's not that I was texting in the rain; I was talk texting.
Texting.
Yeah, and I was thinking about Trucker Supply because it's kind of known as the place you take your husband if you have to run out and go to a place like Hobby Lobby and places like that. You can drop the husband off there.
Yeah,
because it's like our sandbox. There's so much fun stuff, Milwaukee tools, things like that. Great ways to keep us occupied. But I was thinking about all the ways and all the things they have there. They have electrical, electrical, gas, and diesel that you might need. Floor care there, anything for your trailer and truck, of course.
Wow.
But like we say before, do not be fooled by the name, all right? Because they also have things for the household as well. The tools that you need, the shop supplies. They have cargo control, which is a fancy way of saying straps and bungee cords, right? And which make great presents for the Amish, by the way. Just give them some bungee. That's terrible. I shouldn't say that because they elected Trump. Lubricants, detergents, and chemicals for your shops, and also safety equipment, including safety equipment for the home. Yeah. It's very important for you to have, the fire retardant, the fire extinguisher underneath the sink. Grease fire, don't throw water on it. They have all that you need. Right down there in front of Sam's, big red, white, and blue patriotic, right? And again, when you walk in, they say good morning, good afternoon, and they mean it. That's Trucker Supply. Go by and see them, or you can give them a call if you got a question. 601-693-2316, 693-2316, Trucker Supply.
Good morning, caller. Thanks for holding.
MAGA morning, true American patriots.
MAGA, MAGA, MAGA. No, you guys.
I know everybody's going to be disappointed out there, but I do have a praise report.
Praise reports.
Absolutely. Been working on my old Yukon. We've been having a little ignition problem, so the battery was pulled down. We jumped it off, and it cranked and everything.
Good.
And I told my buddy Billy, I said, I think I'm going to run down the battery one source and just make doubly sure there's nothing wrong with this battery.
There you go.
That's a good idea, Haas. So I go down there, leave it running, go in, ask the guy if I got a tech. He comes out himself. By the time I got the hood up, man, he was there with the crash cart with all the test gear and everything. Tested the battery, everything was good. He even put a load test on the battery. I asked him, I said, would you check my terminals, make sure they're not corroded? Oh, yeah. So they did all that, checked the terminals, made everything was great. I saw John come out, and I pointed to him, and I said, don't you be a dumb bunny. And everybody got a good laugh.
I love it.
And he said, well, House, if you have any trouble out of it, nice. It's got another year left on the warranty. We'll make it right. And I said, well, I know y'all will. But these people do you proud every time. They're people you can trust, and they're right here local. And I tell you what, now, I just can't conceive of going anywhere else in Battery One Source.
Amen
There
to
you
that.
go, my friend.
And we ain't through with winter yet. Now, you think you done skated, and the old battery will kick it a little longer. You'll be out there one morning, that thing won't even it won't even do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can go inside and get your wife or best married girlfriend's lipstick and write a DB on your head for dumb bunny.
Love it.
Don't be a dumb bunny. Hop on down there and let them boys, they're trained technicians. They do a great job. And, man, it's just like the old adage, you get what you pay for, you pay for what you get. But these people are experts in that field, and I wouldn't conceive of going anywhere else. But there again.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
This is better than the copy I
Trucker
wrote.
Supply. Oh, when I walk in there and I see that big red Milwaukee tool wall, it just gets weak in the knees like old Tim Allen on Home Improvements. More power,
Yep.
more power.
Yep. It's
The
like
only thing
yeah.
it's missing is Heidi the tool girl.
It's like Joe Biden seeing that ice cream buffet. He just
Man,
kind of wanders
oh my
towards
God.
it, you know.
I can only imagine if Marjorie Taylor Greene was the tool girl. But, you know, back on a more serious note,
Yes, sir.
Trump, they called him out about the DEI, and he was talking about the FAA. Well, chances are they were understaffed. They may not have the proper people or whatever. And, you know, heads will roll. And need to. And like Kelly used to say on the Bundys, on Married with Children, the for-buy guys, some of them are going to be hitting the street. Oh, yeah. They're going to revamp the whole total government, the justice system, FBI, FAA, FCC, everything. And I cannot be prouder of President Trump. But, you know, all these demon cats are grilling his nominees, and they're acting like they're the Spanish Inquisition or something, like they're without sin. These wretches shouldn't even be allowed in the building. And, you know, here it is. What have you got to throw at the system? What have you done for the country? You know? And no, I'm proud of old Trump, and the ones that he wants that they don't confirm, just do a recess appointment.
And you know, Haz, I hate to interrupt you, but you know one thing that did make me proud yesterday? You have the President of the United States coming out there to speak after a tragedy. You have the Transportation Secretary there. You have you have the Defense Secretary there. You have the Vice President there. I mean, you have leadership that is willing to step out there and talk about this stuff instead of the silence we got from the last administration.
Well, the thing about it, they're right out front, and they're letting the people see them do their job.
That's right. That's right.
That Transportation Secretary, when they had old Butt Jiggler or whatever his name was, you know, that train derailment. I mean, where are these people at, man? The FEMA. Oh, my God. Trump is going to revamp FEMA now. It won't be none of that, but, you know, here it is. The government, the fraud, waste, and abuse, and these worthless departments and people, he's fixing to put them in the road, man. And you know, that's helping the American taxpayer. It's making the system better. And we want the best candidate for the job. DEI, we don't care about the crap. That's a Mickey Mouse man-made doctrine. Put the best dog in the fight.
And remember, let's keep in mind, the media doesn't want us remembering this, but DEI is not only about race. They're making this whole thing about race.
It's more than that.
Much more than race, And if
Right. It's the LGBTQ, LSMFT, or whatever it is this week, and all this other. And no, if you can't meet the standards or surpass that, we don't need you. And we're not lowering the standards, we're increasing the standards, just like the military. They're going through there, and they're going to weed them out, the ones that they don't want. They're going to put the best generals, the best pilots, the best everything. Our military needs to be able to project, prosecute, and win a conflict or world war anywhere on this globe. We don't need to have a red shirt, second string, bench warmer army. And by army, I mean Air Force, Navy, Marines, all of them, coasties. No, that's where the push needs to be. Some of these social action programs, cut that back, go through there, weed out the ones that are beating the system, put their feet on the street, and get a job. But this country needs to get stronger.
It's also,
we got the man to do it.
It's also the one thing I was pleased with yesterday as an historian was when Caroline Kennedy was going after Robert Kennedy Jr. very harshly about how he treats people and what a despicable human being he is. And one thing I was pleased about, even on some very left-wing sites, they knew their history. They were like, Caroline, you have an uncle who taught swimming lessons to somebody one time. Right?
Oh, yeah, a blonde in every pond.
Yes. Well, I wouldn't. I haven't quite read that in history books, but I forget who I'm talking about.
Blonde in every pond. Mary Jo Kopechne, yeah.
I forget who I'm talking to. Oh, my.
But Kennedy, he looks kind of rough, man, and sounds kind of rough, like death sucking a woman. Looks like it'd get somebody a little bit more energetic, but that's the one Trump wants. I'm good to go, man.
I love it.
He's talking about health, and he doesn't sound too swift himself. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
No, and I'll tell you that Elizabeth Warren, God Almighty, what a witch! What a witch! All them old heifers are, man.
Yeah, as we
and all of them.
Yeah, we played her audio yesterday from that opening day testimony, and it'll make your blood boil a little bit.
Well, I tell you what now, Wooden Cigar Store Indian's got more Indian in him than she does. Fake Pocahontas.
I heard she was so mad she was red-faced. Is that true?
No.
I don't know. I'm 100% Southern-born redneck. I know that for sure. But here's a closing phrase. Marjorie, me love you long time. Hazmat. Roger that.
I have to tell Haz. Hopefully he's still listening. I have to tell that before I was talking about being on the air, and I hope some of the the old ones called in.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a few yesterday.
And the mayor and Jimmy and a few others, and Haz calls in. But we were talking about Haz, and he's a fan of Marjorie Taylor Greene. That comes up every once in a while, and then of course he does it. Right there, that's awesome.
Next time we have Michael Guest on the show, be like, hey, can you get us a autographed 8x10 of Marjorie and mail it to the studio and just to Haz?
Oh man,
so we'll have to work on that. So go down and see Charlie Ballou at the office and get that in the works. Charlie's gonna be like, what? Before we go to our next phone call, let's talk about one of my favorite places to eat in Meridian, folks. You're gonna get a good home cooked meal every single day down at the Magnolia Restaurant at the Queen City Truck Stop. And, folks, it is a fun Friday, and that means one thing. They've got fish on the menu today.
Oh, yes, they've got fish. And it's fish that's cooked and not overcooked, so you have these big chunks of fried air, right, and then a little bit of fish. But, nowadays there's several places you can go where you can find folks that meet, right?
Yes.
Folks meet here every weekday morning, 7 to 9, 102.1 WALT. Folks meet at church. Right?
Yep.
And folks meet at restaurants and places after church. And that restaurant and the restaurant throughout the week where they meet, again, is the Queen City Truck Stop, the Magnolia restaurant, and great food. Vegetables that look like vegetables. They have colors to them.
Thank
right?
God.
Right. It's not something from, you know, the Army from 1953. It's fresh. It's made right there. You'll see people you know every time you go. Right. And like you said, specials every day of the week.
Every day.
And Friday is the great one because, again, we're talking about those fried catfish fillets, right? But you have red beans and sausage over rice, right? You have fried or grilled pork chops.
Yeah.
And I mean pork chops.
Yep.
I don't know where they're finding these pigs from, perhaps the view. Chicken wings, the like I said, the vegetable plate, sweet tea that tastes like sweet tea made below the Mason-Dixon line.
I'll be back.
Bring me one. All right. And folks, again, that's where you need to go. Exit 150, right here in Meridian. You know where it is. Just around lunchtime, follow the folks. If you've got something in your hand right now and you're on your way to work and that's your breakfast, or you're dropping the kids off at school and that's your breakfast and it crinkles having an expiration date, that's not food, folks.
No.
That's not food. That's what Robert Kennedy is warning us about. So make Robert Kennedy Jr. happy. You know you want to. Exit 150, Magnolia Truck Stop. Go by, and the Magnolia Restaurant, rather, at the Queen City Truck Stop. See folks you know, food you need on the go, right there at the Magnolia Restaurant.
Let's go to line one here. Caller been holding for a few moments. Hey, caller, good morning to you.
Good morning, guys. Come in peace. Love everybody, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Mississippi James, happy Friday.
All right, same to you. Hey, old Tasmania Devil, when he started off saying he gonna give some praise to somebody, I said, his face getting ready to crack now, giving praise.
Hey, but it was a good. It was a good report, though.
Yeah, he was safe. He gave it to the battery place. They're good people, so they're good praise to him. But I got a project for him and Ruth, both of them.
Ooh.
You know how you do in debate class, and the teacher give you each a subject, and you have to give all your strong points on that. Then she say reverse them.
Right.
Give your points, give it round. Him and Ruth should have a contest where they praise each other for a moment. You know, instead of bashing each other, they praise each other. Turn it around a little bit. You know, that would be groundbreaking there.
Well, MJ, they did that at a pancake thing not too long ago, didn't they?
Yeah, it was last year. I think they took a photo together.
There was a photo of them together, and they met, and
well, we all kind of met down there and had some good conversation.
sure
I know
did,
me and Mississippi James talked for a good while. So,
but I understand what you're saying, sir. About get them on the air, maybe have them do that, praise each other a little bit.
There you go. There you go. And then they'll find out they got more in common than they got difference. And I think both of them just pro whatever they are. I don't think they're trying to hurt the other side. They just so pro the way they are. You know. Oh, and speaking of the pancake, hey, coming up. It's coming up.
that's right.
3 weeks away.
That's right. Out down at the Temple Theater Ballroom.
They just taste better at a place like that.
Yeah.
They
The
really
way
do.
they mix them is just the best. So.
Well, Mississippi James, just to play off your point for a little bit, you know, folks that listen to the show here for a long time realize that, you know, we believe what we believe. We can poke fun at ourselves. We poke fun at each other. We get poked at, you know. Some of us get poked harder and ask for more. No safe word. Well, actually, my safe word is more. But anyhow, but yeah, you're right. Sometimes folks can get the idea that, especially the way the national folks do it, that we all hate one another, right? And say what you will about the Biden-Trump team, but both times we did have a peaceful transfer of power. And we forget, right? We forget what that's like. We forget that that's so unique to our nation, is that one side loses, one side wins. One side might complain a little bit, maybe take a deeper tour of the Capitol, right?
Yeah.
But and have some FBI guys open the doors for you. But no, we're all in this together. And again, when Haz and Ruth met one another, it was like, hey, you're you and you're you. Had a great conversation. Even allowed us, like you said, to take a photograph. Right? So that's a great idea. That we'll work on that. I know that Rob. I know Rob wants to get all the mayoral candidates in here. Right?
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
That'll be interesting. So yeah, we'll top it off with that.
Now, what number on the mayor candidate are we at now? Do you have a number count?
Right now we're at 4. We've got the 2 that had campaign rallies yesterday was Rita Jack and, of course, Jimmy Smith running for re-election. Of course, you have Percy Bland and then Mr. Jimmy Copeland. Those are the 4 right now that are seeking that office.
Yeah, 2 Jimmys, a Rita, and a Percy.
And a Percy.
Do you want to be the 3rd Jimmy, Jimmy?
No, sir. No, sir.
No.
You guys wouldn't want a leader like me, And I would have to blame you if you follow someone like me.
I've had lunch with you. I think you'd be an outstanding politician. You know why? You know why you'd be a great mayor? Because, and some of these 4, I think, count this way as well. You don't want the job. You're being pulled to the job. Most of our most successful politicians throughout our history, or I should say leaders, not politicians, have been the ones who didn't want the responsibility, but felt like they had to step up into it. Some of our biggest heroes in times of war have been those who were terrified, right? But they were in a situation where they stepped up. So I think you'd be a fine, absolutely fine mayor of Meridian. Why is he laughing?
All right, maybe in 4 years. Maybe in 4 years. I'll throw my hat in there.
Writing that down right
He's
now.
marking
But
marking it down.
Tyrone Johnson never did qualify. I know he was talking about it.
I have not seen his name on the qualifying list as of this morning, but of course they got until 5 o'clock today to qualify. So not saying he's yay or nay on that, but yeah, I've heard the same thing. But he has not filed the paperwork.
Okay. Well, his house burnt down.
Yeah, he sure did, and that
Almost to the
yeah.
ground. It was
Yeah.
a bad fire, so I know he got a lot going on. So maybe that
And we've
can't
had
focus on
and
mayor
we've had
right now.
and we've had Tyrone on the program before, and fine gentleman, and I was when I heard he was possibly running for mayor, I said, well, great, that's another good person in the running there.
Met him years ago, Mr. Jim, and he said, "Call me cornbread."
Yeah, cornbread. That's right.
And you don't forget that kind of thing,
Hey, DJ Cornbread.
That's right.
There you go.
A good man.
All right, you guys, fun Friday. Keep it going.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. 601-485-9191. But yeah, I'm gonna pull up the list here.
I've sat across from Jimmy and had lunch with him, Mississippi James. And I think, why not? I mean, just some of his ideas that he had and everything. I'd love to see that in the public field. But while you're looking that up, I'll say again, most of our most successful leaders, whether it's in politics, whether it's in military, day-to-day life, they don't want to be. They don't want to be out front. But circumstances have pulled them in that direction.
Yeah, the last list that we got over on Queen City News feed was several days ago. At that time, this was the candidates. Of course, we mentioned the mayoral candidates. As far as the council goes, let's see here. On the Democratic side, for Ward 1, at that time, no candidates had filed yet. Ward 2, Dwayne Davis, seeking re-election. Ward 3, LaQuincy Kimbrough, Sandra Faye Moore, and Joseph Norwood, who's seeking re-election there in Ward 3. Ward 4, Ramondi Gale Walker, seeking re-election. Kim Houston, who was on the council once upon a time, running in that ward. Brandon Rue and Jatara Smith also throwing her name into the ring. Of course, no Jatara here at the station. She's running in Ward 5 on the Democratic side. Republican side, Ward 1. You got 2 individuals there, Elliot Brewer and Elton Reed. Ward 2, Republican, no candidates have filed as of yet. Ward 3, Beverly Henson, running as a Republican. Ward 3, no Republicans in Ward 4. Got 2 in Ward 5 on the Republican side, Dustin Hill and Chad Acton. And then there was 1 independent candidate as well on the council side. That was in Ward 5, Shirley Bolden Goodwin, running as well. And, of course, the cutoff day is today at 5 o'clock. And, of course, the primaries will be April the 1st. Runoff will be April the 22nd, which we could possibly go to one of those in several of these seats. And then, of course, the general election will be June the 3rd. So a lot of information about the upcoming election. So today's the day. Tick tock, counting. The clock is counting down on you.
I'm going to call Cornbread and wake him up and see what he's going to do.
Call him and say, Cornbread, what are you doing? We're going to take a break and take more of your phone calls at 485-9191 after this Fox News break. Hey, it's Fun Friday.
It is.
right, folks, welcome back in. It's Mornings in Meridian, 11 minutes into the 8 o'clock hour. It's the second hour of the two best hours of local live talk here in East Mississippi and West Alabama. Our number is 601-485-9191. Got a caller on hold. Line 2's ringing up, so we'll get to those phone calls in just a moment. But first, let's talk about Gary Barber and the wonderful staff down at Barber & Sons Plumbing.
Barber & Sons Plumbing, and I think Gary would understand that I'm doing this first. I've been getting all these texts this morning from Kathy wanting to know where I am.
Wow.
Right? Yeah, and I thought the lawyer had all this worked out. I am at the radio station. I made it. I am wearing my anklet thing you have to wear. So I am here. I was safe. No, she was very concerned because I was driving through the rain.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And if I die before we sign all the papers, then, you know, she doesn't get the comic book collection.
That's right.
Teasing, it's a joke. Boy, I'm going to pay for that, right?
Don't we all?
Don't we? That's right. And speaking of, I wanted to announce to the listeners as well that, you know, about 55% of America's marriages today end in divorce, and 70% of those end in divorce over plumbing issues.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a lie. I lied about the second number. But plumbing is not fun. I mean, they put this stuff first and foremost where it's hard to get at and work on. You're going to bang your elbows and such. Plus, you're not working because of what you're working on. It's not the cleanest area in the house.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And you ask, you know, for the right tools, and you grab the wrong tool or what have you, and then you have to get up and angle your way back out and such like that. It's not fun. It's not fun. And not that Barber & Sons can make it fun, but they can make it affordable.
Yeah.
And they can make it so much easier.
Yes.
And I'm not suggesting that you call and get them to do the job. They will do that.
Sure,
they will do residential jobs. They'll do commercial jobs. But one thing that, you know, Gary loves to do there, and Gayla joins in, is, oh, you can do this job yourself. Let me show you how. And they'll actually show you which part that you need, which they'll have at a low price. Quite often, they will show you on a video that they have. You know, this is as easy as it is. And they're saving you a lot of money. They're not saving you a lot of hurt elbows, right? Or arguments with the spouse, but they are saving you a lot of money teaching you to do it yourself. So, folks, if you have any kind of plumbing issue that you're kind of letting go on, and as we heard earlier with this weather from Hazmat, you know, the temperature is up now. We know we have more ice and snow coming in February.
It's going to be getting cold again.
That's right. That's right. And those pipes quite often cannot take that, you know, on again, off again, on again, off again. So if you have a lingering problem with your plumbing, the best place to go is Barber & Sons Plumbing. Of course, they're right there on the corner, 1123 26th Avenue, 482-7023, 482-7023. They can make what seems like a tough problem an inexpensive, easy problem. Let them at Barber & Sons Plumbing.
Hey, caller, good morning. Welcome in.
Hey, good morning, y'all.
Lefty.
I've got a question for Dr. Toby.
Come on, man. Lefty, you always have...
Talking about, oh, good Lord, Teddy Kennedy.
Okay.
What was the eventual outcome of Chappaquiddy?
They brought the car up. There was a air bubble. She had been alive for a while. As you know, as we know, he waited. He went home and didn't report it till the next morning. As far as any kind of legal problems or anything, it really was just a little bump in the road. There was some compensation to the family, part official, part unofficial, but that was the Kennedy name. Plus, very much so, the family was looked up to. And we have to remember what year this was. And so this was right after we had lost Bobby, you know, in 68, and of course, John Kennedy in 63. But as far as any damage to Ted Kennedy, not really. You know, he had planned to run for president in 72 and 76. It derailed that. He did run in 80 and challenge Carter. We forget about that he challenged Carter. But if you recall, when he died, he was called the Lion of the Senate, and it was like the whole world stopped to say goodbye to Ted Kennedy. And even those who admit what he did say, well, you know, yes, he had an alcohol problem. Yes, he had other mental issues. You would too if you saw two of your brothers, you know, gunned down. But as far as
didn't slow him down for running for public office once again.
No,
staying in public office.
That's right. You're right about that.
I think if my last name had been Kennedy, I would have found some other occupation.
Well, I'm going to tell you something real quick that's probably going to get some folks mad at me, especially in the historical field. You've heard about the Kennedy curse. Everyone talks about the Kennedy.
Yeah, that's
There's no Kennedy curse. they'll point to John Kennedy's PT boat being split in two by a Japanese destroyer. Well, when you're a skipper of a PT boat, how do you let a Japanese destroyer get close enough to you, right?
I agree.
Then the bubble top in Jackson, in Dallas, and the motorcade route, being in the paper a few days before he got there. And then they talk about John and the curse of the Kennedys. Remember, he was flying a plane he was not familiar with. He wasn't familiar with instrument flying. He took off when they told him not to. So if you investigate a lot of this Kennedy curse, a lot of it is self-inflicted.
That's exactly right. He didn't have enough experience to fly that plane, but he said, well, I don't know what he said, but he went ahead and did it anyway. So
and cost the lives of 4 people, the 2 women with him, and one of the women was pregnant. Yeah.
There was something else I was. Oh yeah, I was gonna bring up. I do like the president's pick in women for these positions. Let's see, Bondi and Noem, or however you say her last name, and
Christy Noem.
Tulsi Gabbard. Oh, they're just so ugly, aren't they?
What do you think about the press secretary?
Well, I haven't seen her since I don't get the news too much since I finally got rid of DirecTV. But so I just get the freebie, but I haven't seen her. So is she a looker too?
Caroline Levitt. Just look her up.
Okay, all right.
Caroline
Roger
Levitt.
had me singing "Sweet Caroline" all day long the other day after.
I love it.
Well, Joey,
after playing that. But anyway, I think that says an awful lot about Trump's character. Him showing up right after he did show up after the crash, didn't he?
Yeah, he was on yesterday. Yeah.
But how long was it before Biden or Witchy Poo ever showed up in North Carolina? Did they ever show up and just kind of give those people some encouragement at all? Kind of like Buttigieg with train derailment. Where are they?
Good point.
Good point.
That really says a lot about that person's character. Is like, if you're going to lead this country and be the head of it, at least show up when a national tragedy happens, and may not solve anything, but at least people know you give you care about them, or you empathize with them, whatever. But
well, when you look up the press secretary that Rob mentioned, 27 years old. I mean, I couldn't hook up my cable when I was 27 years old. She is attractive, but she's being picked at because of that by people like Joy Behar, right? And and I think it's funny that Mrs. Roper from Three's Company is yelling at this press secretary. That's who Behar reminds me of, Mrs. Roper from Three's Company. And I thought women in positions of power were supposed to support other women.
Yeah, it's amazing how
power.
Amazing how that works.
Excuse me, y'all. Can't get rid of this head cold, but I have to agree. Yeah, there was something else I was going to bring up, but I can't remember what it is. Welcome to the 60s. Maybe I'm going to start writing it down, then I can read it. But anyway,
not too old anymore.
I've just always wondered about Chappaquiddick. I was just a child, but I do know my history. And I remember hearing about old Teddy, and it was hard for me to shed a tear when that old boy kicked off. He was another Kennedy POS, if you ask me.
Well, the sad thing about him as well, though, to tell the whole story here real quick, is that I have some friends who worked at the Capitol, like pages and runarounds and such, and they said his nose was always beet red, even when he was stone cold sober. He always looked like he was just torqued to the wind, right? Because they would see him on that underground train that goes underneath the Capitol and such, But, I mean, the fact is, he was intoxicated. She died. There was no lasting penalty there.
There was no accountability. Nobody was, he sure wasn't held responsible. That's from what I understand. He saw what was going on. He bailed, went home, went to sleep, and then reported it.
After he had been able to clear himself up a good little bit. And people also point to the fact, people who defend him, people also forget that he was in a pretty bad plane crash in 1964, and that there was a great deal of damage done to him. He was in a great deal of physical pain. He had just lost his brother the year before. So just as many people who go after him, there's others saying there are reasons that he had these issues. But the fact is, a young lady died, and
Right.
and there was evidence in the car based on her condition, as well as the interior of the car, that she was alive for maybe at least 30 to 45 minutes in an air bubble. And he did tell, when he got home, he did tell the folks there that I tried to save her. I couldn't get the doors open, which can happen with the pressure. But she was alive in the car for quite a while.
And he was married at the time, correct?
Like that matters to the Kennedys. Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have to say, well, what was the single woman doing with him? And well, are any of Trump's nominations in jeopardy?
You know, that's a good question. I think that was asked to Stephen Miller, who's the senior advisor for Trump. I saw him on Fox earlier this morning, and he felt pretty confident about him. I think this group of three that's currently going through the confirmation process, that being Kash Patel, Tulsi Gabbard, and, of course, RFK Jr., I think if it comes down to it, I think it'll end up being like Pete Hegseth, where it'll have to be J.D. Vance breaking the tie, because you know you're going to get those stragglers, that one or two that's going to straggle. But I think they will be fine. But I don't know. We'll wait and see.
I think they're all going to get through.
I kind of like Kennedy. At least he's got some backbone and moxie. He may be a Kennedy, but maybe he's the only one out of the clan that's seen the light, for all I know.
Yeah, he's got a lot
But
of.
if he doesn't do if he gets confirmed doesn't do a good job, he can always be replaced.
That's
So
right.
Give him
That's
a
right.
chance.
That's right. So,
See if he is for real. See if he is different than the rest of them.
But I tell you what, they were all impressive yesterday, Lefty. But the one that really impressed me the most was Kash Patel for FBI director. He is a sharp guy with great credentials.
And he's been on both sides. He's been a prosecutor and a defense attorney.
And he was also around the Obama administration a good bit as well. So he has been on that side of the fence. So.
Well, I don't think Trump would nominate anybody unless they are the criminal.
Exactly.
You don't have another booty gig out there for a transportation secretary that's home on maternity leave or whatever it was. I'm like, gee.
All right, Lefty.
What?
All right, Lefty. We're gonna let you run here.
Okay. See y'all later. Listen in.
See you, bud. All
Always
right.
good stuff from him.
Absolutely. 485-9191 here at Mornings in Meridian. Do want to let folks know, checked in with Cash Matlock at Queen City Newsfeed a few minutes ago, if there was any new candidates that had qualified to run for the municipal elections. I was notified. I'm not going to say any more than there's going to be another candidate that's going to be making a formal announcement later on today. It'll be later on this afternoon, probably around 3:30, 4 o'clock, somewhere in that neighborhood. I'll just put it to you this way. It's just going to be an announcement coming up. And always you're going to have a few last-minute qualifications as well, but I'm just going to leave it at that due to we don't want to break our confidence with a source.
That's right.
I'll just put it that way.
That's
but
right.
There will be another formal announcement from a candidate probably sometime between 3:30 and 4 o'clock later on this afternoon. So just want to respect the confidentiality of that, but that will be happening later on today. So we know of at least one more that will be formally announcing. I'm not sure if it's going to be a rally or whatever it might be, but there will be that formal announcement forthcoming. So there you go. Let's go back to the phone line. Hey, caller, welcome in.
Hello, it is 8:25.
Okay.
So let's see, an announcement comes on. I mean, your commercials come on at what, 5 minutes, is it? So
Yes.
do I need to wait? Do I need to wait until you have your commercials or whatever and call back?
No, you can go ahead and start right now if you'd like. I can move some stuff around.
Oh, thank you. I am so glad that you're here, Toby.
Me
You
too.
were not here last Friday, and I was so upset. You see, you are the catalyst. Let me tell you, you are the catalyst. People behave differently when you are around. I'm listening to the lefty who sits there and calls. I think he was the one who was calling me, whatever that guy's name is, this name calling, and with has all of the name calling. They do not, they were speaking like, civilized people this morning. And that's because you're there, and you need to know this. And what I want to do, and what has to happen here, is that you have this gift to be able to, fool around with them, talk and about other people and this and this and this, and you bring in your historical perspective to it and all of that, and everybody has a good time. So has this group and we have two different groups. You have to realize now it's not Ruth and has. It is has and the people who support him, and Ruth, the people who support her. And so the whole thing is trying to bring the two things together. We can't bring them together as long as you have a situation where people are going to start out the kumbaya. Of course, that's come by here, my Lord, right? Basically. And then you go into all of your racial nonsense. I mean, we always know when Has is getting ready to start talking about people not working and they're doing this and this. It is not only you putting that with the kumbaya, then that's putting that signal there, that code there. I'm getting ready to talk about black people, folks, when I'm doing my kumbaya. And that's what sets me off with him, because what he's not paying attention to is that in today's world, when we're out there counting bodies, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you've got far more white people on welfare who are sitting also down on their butt doing nothing than you have black people. They're talking about the percentage, though, but we're only talking about the percentage. We're talking about there are too many black people to train. Percentage, my foot. You started off with 450 years of white privilege, all right, and you had a group of people who came and were clearing the land, doing the railroads, doing every single thing for you while you sat on your hinds, and you continue to do it. And it would be going on today if you didn't have people who will say, this is enough. I've got to get out. And then the students, God bless their heart. They're always going to be out there. The thing that saved a lot of us from being slaughtered were the white students who joined the movement, because their parents got on the phone and called these racist Southern people and said, look, my daughter is in this march. My son is in this march. And if something happens to either one of them, you're going to pay dearly. All right, so then people started back away from it. And so people now want to start talking about the DEI and the this and kind of thing in terms of the civil that man that everybody likes now, the darling the darling of the Supreme Court here, the black guy. He's a DEI person. I mean, they're calling it DEI today, but back in the 60s, it was called affirmative action. And there was no way that he could have. He went to Yale and had to do the remedial stuff. That's the whole thing. You have a brain. What you have to do. You've not had the various kinds of educational experiences, and so you're going to have to do something to catch up. All right, you're going to have to do something to catch up. And I am totally in favor of people saying, yes, we just want these qualified people to do this, this, and this, and this. But you also have to say, well, what we need to do here is to provide people with certain kinds of experiences so that they can become contributing citizens. Nobody here, when people go going on and on and on, you need to be the best, and this is this, they weren't saying that. When whites were not saying that when they were enjoying all of the privileges.
Wow.
I have looked at that Meridian star, all right, starting from the 1800s. Nobody in this town came forward to say what we are doing is wrong, but except Mrs. Rosenbaum. Lucille Rosenbaum, who was the president of the school board, said we need to have contributing citizens in our town. When they were trying to integrate the schools, she was the one who came forward and said, we're not closing these schools. They were talking about bumming the schools. Even the teachers, the white teachers were in on this nonsense.
Well,
Do you see what I mean?
I do see what you mean. And a few seconds ago, I think you were alluding to Clarence Thomas.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you remember back in 1991 when President Bush was going through the nomination after we had lost, Thurgood Marshall, was that there were several people, Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, Andrew Young. There were others who were saying that he would have to consider he could not. It would be best if he replaced him with a black justice. Yeah, and so it's, I don't know. It's a tricky thing to talk about how that was DEI then, when he was under a great deal of stress to do that. And then you remember what he went through in the in the hearings. And Joe Biden, these names never go away, do they? Joe Biden was the one that was confused a lot of people, because I remember he looked at, and this is on YouTube, he looked at Clarence Thomas and he said, "We all know what's going on here, don't we, Clarence?" And President Biden, Senator Biden at that time, would never really say what he meant. No, I hear what you're saying, but I need to start listening more during the week. So, yeah, go ahead. What?
No, but I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's just that I'm not. The thing I'll think about today is I've heard Haz sing, and a MAGA, and I've heard you sing Kumbaya, right? And
that's his song. No, that's Haz's song. You don't see? No, he does that. This is what I'm saying.
It's tongue-in-cheek fun.
Every time he calls. Every time he calls,
right,
during that, during the time when he's talking and going on and carrying on,
right,
that kumbaya is what he starts. He says that.
Ruth, that is fun and tongue-in-cheek humor. That's all that is.
No, it's no humor. No, you're trying to find excuses for him, Robbie, and that is not going to work. All right, and this is what I'm saying.
This is a entertainment radio show, Ruth. We are just having fun with him.
There are certain things you can't. Okay, you know what? If we're going to call it entertainment, I'm going to start getting on this phone and start saying all of the negative kinds of things that people have to say about white people. And then I'm going to say,
well, we don't have to take your phone calls if you're going to have that attitude.
You would never do that and get away with it. You would not. And I want people to start hiding behind these excuses. What we need to do is just to come together. We are Americans. We are Mississippians. We're down on the floor. We need to come together to see what do we do. That's why I am so crazy about.
And your message this morning is really bringing us all together, Miss Ruth.
Are you sure?
Thanks.
Like
a lot of the things you have said this morning have been pretty divisive, I think.
Well, the thing about it is, what I say is divisive, but then what Hasbit say is something where we're just teasing and having fun. How do you reconcile the two attitudes that you have about this? He's saying all kinds of nonsense, calling me a mammy, and then there's what's her name? that came here when they had the Katrina thing. What's her name? Who came to Meridian? All right, she's there calling Kamala a monkey, and then we're talking all of this stuff. It is supposed to be things we're not paying any attention to. You know who I'm talking. Oh, I know what it was. And then Roger had the audacity to say, as long as Paz is on one side and what's it, Joe is on the other side, I can sleep at night, or some kind of something is what he said. Now, see, he's not getting a vote. There's no point in talking about him moving to Meridian, running for mayor. He would never. When he made that statement, based on what we are thinking about now, there's no way that anybody's going to be voting for Roger to even in Meridian to be a dog catcher. Well,
Miss Ruth, have a good day. We're going to cut it off right there because we've given you 10 minutes plus this morning. Hope you have a wonderful day.
I've got to listen more to the show when I'm not on.
Yeah, I just, it is what it is. We'll take a break. We'll be back. All right, 21 minutes away from the 9 o'clock hour. Got Glenn Beck on the way at 9. Welcome back to Mornings in Meridian. Political talk show, also entertainment show as well. We have laughs and fun and other stuff along the way. I think that's what this show is all about, right, Toby, is having fun.
Yes, and I've got some questions here that have been sent. You know, we have the folks that will not call in for whatever reason. They send us.
Oh, I've got several messages over on my phone as well.
Well, some of mine are about what are we supposed to do this weekend with no football while we're waiting for the referees to cheat for the
Oh,
Chiefs
yeah.
and the Super Bowl, right? I mean,
I knew you were going to bring that up
Right.
at some point.
I mean, there's another 2 weeks now. There's another week between now and the Super Bowl, and you know, and I'm saying this also as a pastor with a hat on here. It's you know, there are churches that cancel their worship meetings
They do, yeah.
for the Super Bowl.
They really do.
Yeah, I mean, you can do half and half. You can say, you know, we'll have a worship meeting and let's all meet at the church and we'll watch Super Bowl here for the youth or something.
Right.
But there's people that actually shut down church
Yeah.
for the Super Bowl, and there are people who watch it also just for the commercials. They don't even care anything about the game.
Well, and here's the thing about it. The commercials, they leak those online already before the game even starts
point.
next weekend.
Good point.
I saw that on one of our show prep services here at the station.
That's right.
And they had all the links to the commercials. And I'm like, man,
Yeah.
now I got to watch them.
There used to be a big thing, and you get the great movie trailers that would come out.
Yeah, that was always a big deal, which
Yeah.
that's kind of gone by the wayside now because of the streaming services and whatnot. So the big release of a movie is not quite as big as it used to be. There's a few that'll be out there. So, but
I just remember a few years ago, this skinny little girl came out and had a few country songs that I liked. Her name was Taylor Swift. I'm not sure what happened to her.
a lot.
Yeah, but now she's affecting my NFL, right?
Hey, what's the over? That's going to be a bet. You know, they always have those prop bets for the big game. How many times over and under will they show Taylor Swift on camera at the game?
Gosh, and you know the referee saying we can't upset the Swifties. You know what is? Can't upset the Swifties?
Somebody made a joke about Patrick Mahomes, which I give him all the credit in the world. He is one heck of a player. He's probably the most talented quarterback we've probably ever seen next to Tom Brady. But someone just made the joke. Of course, you talked about the officials. You know, they always seem to get the calls and everything. You know the reason he wears 15, right? Because that's how many yards the other team loses whenever he gets touched.
Nice. That's good. I'd just like Jack Tatum to meet him one time, you know.
Oh, man. So do have some comments here on Facebook from some folks watching on YouTube about our last phone call there with Miss Ruth, and they said block her. And, you know, I thought that I was more than fair with our amount of time we had with her. 10 minutes I thought was more than enough time there. And I always take Miss Ruth's calls like we do everyone else, but I thought that last one was a little different.
You didn't like what she was. I quit listening after she praised me. I just thought, no, it's nice comments, but I've got to listen to the show more to understand better what she was talking about. No, but you will have anybody on, and anybody's welcome to. Yeah. You know, and we prove that every single morning, right?
Yeah. But my point being is, we play along with Haz, we play along with other phone calls because, well, it's fun. We're having fun with folks, and we've had fun with Miss Ruth before, like we had before. You know, the whole banana pudding thing was fun. You know, we had fun back and forth. It's fun. This is supposed to be a way to start your day, have fun. Let's entertain. Let's laugh. Let's have a good time. And, you know,
one of the best compliments about this show I've ever heard is that people talk about listening and all the different, you know, quote unquote characters that call in. Yeah. And it was the same sensation they got when All in the Family. Yeah. And the Jeffersons and Maude and Good Times, all those shows that Sanford and Son that pointed out, you know, problems in society through humor and through satire. You know, that's pretty high praise.
But the one thing we sometimes get, and I don't mean to go this direction, but I will. I think one thing that we provide here is for folks to call in. And that's one thing I think a lot of folks do forget is, hey, we give you an opportunity to call in, and we let you have your time, and we kind of go back and forth with callers, and we just have fun. And there's nothing wrong with that. So, but I thought 10 minutes was plenty of time.
I understand.
So, and I think we gave Haz a pretty good amount of time this morning, and Lefty and others that are regular callers on the program. So let's talk about our friends down at A&A Glass. Talk about good folks. Adam Carmichael and Adam McCree down at A&A.
And something else we give a lot of time to, and we shouldn't, is our windshields when they have a problem, right? And I just, if folks, I want you to understand something. You know this already because you listen to the program. If you hear us praising a company on WALT, that's because we use them. That's because they're fantastic. They've been around for 40 forevers, and they have great customer service, great prices, and a great product. And Adam at A&A Glass, they have all of that. And I didn't know anything about windshields, so I started talking to these guys. And it's just not a piece of glass you stick in there. It's actually two different kinds of glass that are put together with this goop in between them. It has a scientific name, but it had too many consonants and vowels, and I didn't learn it. And the glass is actually built so in case you are either hit by something in the windshield, which happens a lot on the highways, or if you're, God forbid, in an accident, that glass might crack, that glass might shatter, but that glass is not going to come back on you. And if you have a crack or if you have a small dink in it, if you don't get that taken care of, then the windshield is not going to do what it's supposed to do. And your insurance can play with that sometimes, all right? And those evil insurance agents, not the ones local that we love, but the ones that sometimes they have to call, they live in a big castle covered with smoke and there's big vampire bats, flying around it. Sometimes if you have a pre-damaged windshield, then they can start playing with the money you're supposed to get, right? And so let's not let that happen. A&A Glass, folks, you know where they are. They're down by the Children's Museum. They're in 22nd Avenue, also known as
Sheila Ward Calhoun Parkway.
That's right. Just 2 doors down from the Children's Museum. Folks, go by and see them. And if it's got even a small little dink, go by, and quite often while you're there, they can fix it. They'll give you a free estimate. They won't sell you anything you do not need to have. They're great folks. That's why they've been in business for 40 forevers. Adam Carmichael, Adam McCree, 601-693-4527, A&A Glass.
Before we get to our next phone call, I did get some information that was sent to us from one of the campaigns here. Jatara Smith, and I'm not going to make any bones about it. I've known Jatara for a good number of years through the radio world, and she is throwing her hat into the ring for City Council in Ward 5. I did want to take some time here to read this press release, rather. It was just sent to me a few moments ago. Jatara Smith is excited to officially launch her campaign for City Councilwoman of Ward 5, bringing a clear and actionable plan to revitalize downtown, improve housing and job opportunities, and enhance connectivity throughout Meridian. Her quote here in her press release: crime cannot just be a law enforcement issue. We must give our citizens a real chance at life with quality jobs, accessible housing, and thriving businesses, said Smith. Ward 5 is the heart of Meridian, and with the right leadership, we can make it a model for progress and opportunity. Her priorities for Ward 5: revitalizing downtown with evening activities, investing in better housing and jobs, and extending MLK Drive for greater connectivity. She is going to have an event. It's going to be today at 1 o'clock. They'll launch her campaign for Ward 5. She'll share her vision for the future of Ward 5, and they're going to have refreshments going to be provided. They will be at Aura 5. It's located on 5th Street, Suite A in Meridian, for that event this afternoon at 1 o'clock. But there is going to be another campaign that is going to launch their bid later on today, probably between 3:30 and 4 o'clock, that we can't announce at this time, but that'll be coming down the pipe later today. So I just figured we'd share that information since we just got it in from Queen City Newsfeed. Let's go back to the phone line. Hey, caller, welcome in.
It's me again, Margaret.
Oh, I'm probably doing wrong here, Haz, by having you back on.
Well, probably you did, but check the facts to get the truth. I stand by what I say. Somebody out there that can prove me wrong, let's see it. Put your mouth where your heart is. But the truth is the truth, and it's based on established facts. Look at the crime. Look at the schools. Look at the housing. Look at all the government programs, and prove me wrong. Roger that.
All right, Haz calling back in with a bonus call this morning for a few moments.
Gauntlet has been thrown down.
The gauntlet has been thrown down, I think. So as we're approaching 12 minutes here into the 9 o'clock hour. But, yeah, it is going to be a frenzy today with all these campaigns announcing. And like I was texting with Cash Matlock a few moments ago, which, by the way, folks, he's doing a marvelous job over at Queen City Newsfeed. We're probably going to see some last-minute things happen today before 5 o'clock. So just get ready for It may be a roller coaster ride. We'll wait and see on
Right.
that if there's going to be more folks. Because, you know how some people are. They're going to ride that fence a little bit.
Yep. Yep. And we've I'll put it this way: we've checked the cornbread. I've checked the
You
oven.
checked the corn. Okay,
We've
you
checked the
checked the
cornbread.
oven.
I'll check
Okay.
the cornbread again because I've reached out to
Hello, Tyrone.
to Mr. Johnson. He has not responded. Now, if you know anything about Tyrone Johnson, he is extraordinarily busy. You know, beyond things he's done for the
Yeah,
city.
absolutely.
I mean, there's the church and friends and family and things like that. So I have not been surprised I haven't heard back from him because he's probably not looking at his phone.
There you go.
But anyway, when I first met him, like I said years ago, at City University, I was very impressed with him then. And, he's had some, you put yourself out there in the public and you're going to have some things happen,
Oh, sure.
right? And he has not changed at all
Yeah.
who he is as a person. And so I think that's important. But folks, again, we salute anybody who's running for any office.
Amen to that.
Put yourself out there as well. But don't be afraid to approach them. Don't be afraid to ask them tough questions. If they're putting themselves out there, that's what they're expecting, and that's what you deserve.
Let's go back to the phone line. Got 2 lines ringing up. I'm going to line 1 here. Hey, caller, good morning.
I'll be quick, sir.
Oh,
Go
there-
ahead and write it down. Go ahead and write it down. I am not running for mayor.
Okay. We can clear that much up this morning. Citizen Solly.
I am writing it down.
I
here.
enjoy the title. I enjoy the title, Citizen Solly.
I was about to say, Citizen Solly kind of suits you.
It feels good, sir.
I know it does.
We have had people call in surprisingly asking, is it SOLLIE or Y? Because they're talking about write-ins.
The write-ins.
So we told them why, so it wouldn't count.
Since the 4th grade, I've had trouble with Billy. A lot of folks like to do the BILLIE.
Mm-hmm. I understand. Hey, Toby understands. Believe me, TOBY understands.
I understand. Just want to clear up the air, sir. You guys have a great and wonderful day.
I love it.
Doesn't it still make you good to know he's still out there, though?
I love it, though.
You know?
Wonderful, fantastic. Can't say enough about our former sheriff, Citizen Solly now. So we're going to take a break. Of course, we got to pay those bills to keep the lights going, so you have a program to enjoy. So we'll be back and in just moments. Stay with us. Yes, when the former sheriff calls, I gift him with Stevie. You're welcome, sir.
You know, I think I've shared this before real quickly. I know we're about to get out of here, but my favorite Sheriff Solly story is I only recently moved here, and I did not know that he lived right down the road, you know. And because people kept saying, you can't do that out in front of your yard. The sheriff lives down the road, you know. Go inside and put some pants on.
I love it.
So, but we had a local person here, chief of police as it was.
Yeah.
And Sheriff Solly gave a very honest opinion on the news that night.
Yeah.
And I was stunned. I was stunned to hear that kind of honesty, and then for it to be backed up with evidence. So I just called his house, and he answered.
Isn't that amazing?
And I'm like, you know, in a town this size, you know, a number he doesn't recognize, right? And he answered, and I said, you don't know me? And he said, yes, I do. You can't do that in your yard. I said, yes, my neighbors have told me that. I know that. But no, I thanked him for being so honest, and he says, well, I'm always going to tell you how I feel.
Love
it. And I was, you know, #1 fan ever since then.
Fantastic. Well, he's still listening to the program. I can guarantee you that. So, folks, we're almost out of time here on Mornings in Meridian. Of course, be sure to stay plugged into Queen City News Feed all day, either on Facebook or bookmark it on your desktop, queencitynewsfeed.com, because as we mentioned, today is qualifying deadline for the municipal elections. We gave you the most up-to-date list that we have. Earlier this morning, of course, Cash Matlock is going to be breaking some stories this afternoon when it comes to candidates that are officially making announcements and qualifications today. The deadline is at 5 o'clock. And then, as promised, we will then start to schedule interviews with all of these candidates. I want to get them all in here, get to know them. Some of them I do not know that are qualified, and we want you, the listeners, to get to know these folks, because these are the individuals that are seeking these offices, mayor and council, going ahead for the city of Meridian. They all have different visions of where they want to take Meridian. So I think it's very important to get those individuals on, just like we did the county elections the past cycle. So we'll do our best to get everybody. I've already talked to a handful of these individuals to get them on, and we're going to do our best to get everybody in here.
That's right.
And
That's right.
It'll be very busy next few months by the time we get to that first primary in early April.
And pay attention who's on here, and pay attention to who will not come on here as well.
We have had that in the past as well.
Indeed.
I don't have to say any more than that. So, well, folks, it's been a fun show today. Have a safe weekend and enjoy yourselves. And, of course, we'll be back on Monday. Of course, the whole team will be here. Toby, always good to see you.
Thanks so much.
Absolutely. Glenn Beck is up next, followed by Clay and Buck, of course, the great Sean Hannity at 2 o'clock. My man, Joe Pags, on your drive home at 5. And then the great one, Mark Levin, later on at 8. Yes, we must tip our cap to the great one, right. Mark Levin. So, folks, have a great day. And, of course, what do we always tell you? Buy local.